So we're constantly getting questions about improving our posture. With everyone sitting, standing, we got to think about how to get ourselves upright. So we got a couple exercises, a little flow here that'll focus on posture, but it's not just about creating mobility in the upper back or creating a better way to get yourself upright. We got to think about adding in some core stabilization. So some of these exercises are going to be a combination of both. So I've got Christina here in a half foam roll. Now at home, all you need to do is actually take a towel, roll up two towels, take two towels, roll them up, tape them up, and it'll give you the same type of thing. Just lifting yourself off the ground ever so slightly, and then laying on top of that so your spine or your back is right centered on top of this half foam roll or towel. All I'm gonna have Christina do is bring her knees up and just balance yourself. So just kind of work through here and get her balance. And now what I'm gonna do, now this is working her core a little bit, just by getting her that balance. Now go ahead and take your left arm and raise it above your head. So now she's got her arm above her head. So now I'm gonna have her simply take a breath in, and as she lets it out, press into the ground. Press that arm down, press this arm down. So she's basically doing a press. And when she presses, again, that gives her a little bit of that mobility. So she does a few cycles, a few breaths there, and then switches it up. Now again, because you're elevated, you see it's a lot of space here. Simply take a pillow or any type of object. That way you can raise it up. So she doesn't have to go all the way down if you're really limited. Take a pillow right here. So if we just had a pillow or something right here, get an Eric's pad. So you can again see just an Eric's pad right here. If you're really limited, start there. So you press, breathe, press. And now I'm gonna make it a little bit harder. So switch it up, Christina. So again, I can switch it up, have a pillow here, make it a little bit easier on her. So she's pressing, now take this leg straight down. So you take that leg down, tap, come back up. So some people call this some of a dead bug activity, but I'm adding in this upper body activity here as well to really press and open up that upper spine, upper back, okay? Adding in the lower body into it creates a little bit more stability. But don't add the lower body into it till you feel comfortable. Again, we gotta meet you where you are so you're not doing something really crazy and over the top hard, because when you start doing that, you start messing up. So let's start easy, progress a little bit harder. Take that towel roll, roll it up, get right on here. We gotta progress you. We gotta change your posture and position. Just because Christina is good here, let's make sure we challenge her a little bit differently. So from our back, we're gonna go to sitting. So we're gonna do a wall sit. So that we follow this up with a wall sit. The thing with the wall sit is we gotta make sure your entire spine is against the wall. So when Christina comes up here, her entire back has to be against the wall. Most people, when they do a wall sit, they sit their butt away from the wall. So get the top of your butt flat against the wall. So right here, this is what I'm talking about. Get that flat against the wall. Now what we can do is we can start just by one arm. So take this arm up. And she can raise it. Christina's got a lot of mobility here, so not a big deal. So take that arm up. And one thing you want to do is look at that arm, Christina. Look at your hand. And then as you raise it up. So when you look at your hand, you raise it up. So look at your hand and raise it. Press it back. Good. And then let's switch. So let's take this hand down. Look at that hand. Go up. Keeping everything flat against the wall. Okay? You can even take a little bit of like a rag or a towel, put it right against your back, and make sure you feel that. That's the feedback you're looking for. Take something. So right here where my hand is behind her back, I want her pushing against that wall. So you take something, like I said, a little rag or something, stick it back there, make sure you can keep that pressure. Now, where's the progression here? Well, here, the progression is going to be both hands up. So Christina, put both hands up, flat against the wall, keep that chin down, head tucked down. So now, this is really working that upper back mobility. It's relaxing the hips. Now, in this position, many people will have some difficulty in their hips because we're now working both. And what a lot of people don't realize is when you get that pelvis and that hips, that low back flat against the wall, because of where your upper back or where those muscles attach, the hips are very much involved. It's the muscle called the lat. So by getting that lat stretched out when the arms go up, we can also stretch out the lat by putting the pelvis in a different position. So with that, basically our hips. So if our hips can get into a different position, that's going to give us a stretch in our upper back. So manipulating what's going on down the hips is just as important as what we're doing in the back. So we got our wall sit, dead bug, wall sit. Now we're going to go to half kneeling. So Christina, come up in half kneeling. So again, we're changing up your position. So we're going to start Christina in half kneeling. All I'm going to get her to do is just take her hands behind her head. Again, I'm trying to do this with no equipment, things you just got around the house. And all I want her to do is tuck that chin down, and then just rotate around, keeping the balance. So now we're working the core. Doesn't look like we're working the core, but we're working on her balance. Anytime we're working on balance, we're working the core. We can make this harder by narrowing her base. So if she wanted to make this harder without doing anything else, take that foot, get it more in line with that back knee, all right? And then we just rotate. Now here's the one thing we're gonna do. Christina's really good here, so I'm gonna take a little beanbag. In the South, we call this we play cornhole this thing. So I'm gonna stick that right on her head, because what I want her to do is don't think about just, get so inclined, so thought about what I'm doing, my arms and everything. All I'm gonna have her do is take that beanbag, touch the ceiling with it. It's staying tall is the cue. Take that beanbag, touch the ceiling. That's what we wanna do. Stay tall, stay tall, stay tall should be what we wanna say, instead of, hey, shoulders back, shoulders back. Hey, it's really stay tall. Think about a tube of toothpaste. What do you do when you squeeze it in the middle? When you squeeze it in the middle, it gets longer. That's what we're trying to do. Squeeze you in the middle, that activates your core. And then you really work on postural mobility. So again, combination of stability and mobility. So we did our dead bug, we did a seated position, a little bit of upper body mobility along with getting the hips involved. Now we're adding some stability and mobility. I'm gonna get Christina to change positions, but change positions, put this knee down, don't drop that beanbag. So this is just as important. Keep that beanbag on there, Christina, good. Right there is all we want to do. A book, it's gonna be too difficult. I don't wanna make it too difficult. Beanbag, nice and easy, and just keep doing that rotation. How do we make it harder? Press those arms above your head. Press them up, same thing. You could use a stick, a dowel, but again, trying to do this with little or no equipment. Now from here, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to standing. And we're gonna do an activity to kind of get everything involved. We're just gonna do a little toe touch progression here. So toes up, feet together, really reach up tall, really reach up tall, really reach high, 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 tall, tall, tall. Elongate is really what you're thinking about doing. Create elongation, touch the ceiling. Now go down, tuck that chin, look at those toes. Keep a little flexion in your knees. Good. Too often, people who are really, really mobile, keep going, Christine, who are really mobile have a tendency to lock the knees out. That locking the knees out is kind of fake stability, because you're using tension to help stability, and that's what we don't want to see. Keeping a little bit of flexion in the knees is what we want to do. Christina's got a lot of mobility, so she's going to have a tendency to lock those knees out. Let's keep them slightly flexed. All right, let's take your feet over, let's keep your heels up, and we'll do a series of 4 or 5 reps here. We could always go back and start with a dead bug again, but again, these are little postural activities that will help influence better posture, better positioning. It's not about standing up and pulling your shoulders back. Really think about creating elongation, and also think about it's not always a mobility problem that gives you poor posture. It could be a stability problem. We gotta work on both. Hey guys, if you like the video, definitely hit the thumbs up. And if you wanna stay informed, hit the bell so we can notify you anytime we put up new videos. And of course, any questions or comments, put those at the end. We'll certainly be checking them out and trying to respond. Thanks so much. And remember, always move well and then move often.